What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, talking today about a very important topic that almost certainly is going to get me in very deep trouble, but let's dig into the subject of Nintendo Switch hacking. You see, over the course of the last year, something very big has been happening behind the scenes. The Nintendo Switch is an amazing system. It has giant open world games, can be played on the go, and has some really cool, interesting online stuff like Splatoon 2. But on top of that, it is a system that has some rather glaring issues, like the fact that it's so weird about Virtual Console, and it doesn't really allow you to really enjoy online in the way most people would like, since you have to talk through a voice chat app. But moving past that, a lot of people still enjoy it for what it is. But you guys may know, I actually have two really big rules about myself. There's two actually things that I have lived my entire life by. Number one, I love to try and track down and beat some of the rarest and most amazing games ever made. It's more than a hobby, it's like a life dedication of mine. And number two, I actually like to try and play games in the best format humanly possible. No matter what it takes, I want to try and beat games that are so legendary and epic, but I want to experience them in the most flawless way that they possibly can be. And so occasionally, this has led me down the path of hacking. I'll fully admit that there have been situations where I discovered that perhaps the best way to play a game on the PSP is to go into the programming and make it where instead of actually booting games off the CD drive, it'll boot it off the internal storage. Now, why would you want to do something like that? Well, certain games like Grand Theft Auto are really, really big. They have huge loading times and some stuff like weird pop-in. But if you mod your PSP, all that goes away. It becomes a very seamless and very, very stunning experience on a handheld. So I'll admit that in certain circumstances, I have occasionally tinkered with the programming of a machine just to try and make what I thought was the best experience that we could possibly get. And I feel like, unfortunately, in a really weird way, that is now being provided by Nintendo Switch hackers. Now, let me say right up front, the people who are just trying to steal video games, those people are scum. Straight up, developers get paid and we get sequels by people purchasing stuff. You're not going to see another freaking Octopath Traveler if people weren't lining up to buy it. Part of the reason that Final Fantasy sells so much is because fans realize that, yeah, you could probably hack a copy of Final Fantasy 15, but if you want to see Final Fantasy 16, you got to support it monetarily. But moving past that, I want to talk instead about the people who are going in and reprogramming the Nintendo Switch just to do extra stuff, and in my opinion, features that it should have had. I mean, think about the fact that the Nintendo Switch, for all it does right, is so bizarre in certain aspects. Like, if you, for some reason, pick up your Switch, you're really, really loving this thing, and you realize, man, I have put about 1 million hours into Starlink. This is such a big freaking cool game, and I have all these customized options. I've got all this cool stuff. What happens if my Nintendo Switch falls off a bridge? This thing breaks, and those save files are irrevocably destroyed forever. Recently, they did implement a cloud save system, very thankfully, which now makes it where whenever you want, the games you have saved can be put up into the cloud as long as you continue to pay for the service. But there's still no physical backup option. I can't exactly just plug in a thumbstick, transfer the save files over, and then keep it on a USB. This is for a good reason. Nintendo has said in the past that they're afraid of, well, people actually going in there and reprogramming save files. But now, hackers have, in a cool way, actually provided a very easy and very safe system for transferring existing save files onto external storage. And now, as of this week, they've even gone one step further and allowed you, if you want, to actually do everything on external storage. I mean, you could straight up make it where your Nintendo Switch has a terabyte of internal data. You could make it where it could actually hold every single Nintendo Switch game on one Switch at once with an external drive. Stuff like this is undeniably a very, very interesting advancement, because I feel like it's now becoming a system that's showing that hackers are more willing to make big changes to the Switch than Nintendo is. I mean, I hate to really bring this up, but look at the fact that Skyrim is worse on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I don't mean graphically, or I don't mean that it has bad frame rate. No, I'm actually talking about the fact that if you play Skyrim on Xbox One or PlayStation 4, or of course PC, you have the option of modding, making it where you can go in and install fan-made add-ons. This could be stuff like patches to make it where vendors will have different items, new customized magic, or even entire talent trees being completely reworked. Well, this is available everywhere now except the Nintendo Switch, unless you're willing to turn to the dark side and install hacks. Because with this, there's now the ability to mod Skyrim. I mean, if you wanted, you could put Bowsette in Skyrim, or now even put Bowsette in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. These features, in my opinion, are small perks, but they're indicative of a bigger element of change. The fact that now hackers are more willing to try and alter what's going on with the system than Nintendo themselves. I mean, people actually recently have now started creating their own version of the Virtual Console. Now, I'm not going to tell you where to download it or anything like that, but I think it's really amazing the fact that people are running GameCube games on the Nintendo Switch. This is not about stealing games. This isn't about taking money from Nintendo. It's about putting these games in a new place. I'm actually a pretty big fan of the idea of emulation and hacking, not in a way to try and steal stuff, but instead as a way to preserve this medium. And also, it actually encourages new developers. There is actually a huge hacking scene on the Dreamcast, and this has led to a lot of people making new games for the Dreamcast almost 20 years later. This is Pure Solar. You've probably never heard of it, but it's honestly one of the best RPGs I've ever experienced in my life. It is so legit and is playable start to finish in glorious 1080p on the Sega Dreamcast. This is because the Dreamcast, of course, has HDMI mods that make it where it's really well upscaled, but also because these people are willing to actually create the products that nobody else is. These are hackers that were willing to put the thousands of hours of work, passion, blood, sweat, and tears into this project to really blow our minds. If Sega, for whatever reason, had decided to really lock them out or maybe send them a cease and desist, we wouldn't have that great art. I'll fully say that in the past, I have, in ways, tried to mod and hack stuff myself. You'll notice in the background this week, I actually have a Xbox and an Xbox 360. Those are both very heavily reprogrammed. They can do a lot of very crazy stuff. Specifically, this original Xbox actually has a fully rebuilt version of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time inside of Halo. I actually can go around and shoot a bow that ends up firing plasma shots. I could throw bombs that are plasma grenades and really run around in the Ocarina of Time. I can drive a warthog in Ocarina of Time. That's something that's very, very cool. It's very, very interesting, and obviously it never would have existed with normal means. I'm not saying that all mods are good, and I'm definitely not saying that all hackers are moral, but I'm getting to an interesting spot where I do think that, in a weird way, if you are looking for the ultimate Nintendo Switch experiment, I think that it's time to hack it. I think it's time to mod it. I think that I myself might be hacking my Nintendo Switch, just so I have new options to customize, enjoy, and play my own tech. But what do you think? Are you somebody who believes that any form of hacking whatsoever is downright evil and should be blocked? Or are you a little bit more open-minded to the fact that these people, as best as they can, are trying to improve an already awesome time? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And also, do me a giant favor and give this video a like, because honestly, I think I'm about to be in very, very deep trouble. But I'm going to post this video and deal with the consequences. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. You guys rock. Do me a giant favor and keep dreaming. Oh man, I'm so screwed. Well, I'm sure Nintendo just watched this whole video and they're really mad right now, but what are you gonna do? That's life. Let's do this. Beep boop beep boop beep boop beep boop boop. Oh, hey. I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad and I'm sure you could just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.